After many years of service, Challenger 2 is on the brink of finally getting an appropriate upgrade. So far, since its introduction, Challenger 2 has seen no important improvements to its capabilities. Sure, Theater Entry Standard gave it some buff to the side protection and the lower front plate, and gave it a remotely operated machine gun, but that's not nearly enough to make the tank on par with other modern tanks, which have been upgraded extensively in the period of Challenger 2's existence. And no, Streetfighter is not a good upgrade either. Imagine making a tank for urban warfare and then not add any side or roof armor, and on top of that give it a long-range missile for urban warfare. But that's beside the point. Challenger 2 Life Extension Program, or LEP for short, looks promising as a future upgrade, and there are some things that might extend Challenger 2's service for a long while, or by 2035 to be exact. But before we dive into that, a quick word about my sponsor, War Thunder, which is also a game I quite like playing myself. War Thunder is a military vehicle combat online game. The game is free to play on PC, Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5 and the previous console generations. No purchase necessary, simply download and play. It is also fully cross-platform between all available platforms. Players on PC and both generations of Xbox and PlayStation all play on the same servers. Best thing about the game is probably the sheer amount of vehicles you can choose from, over 1700 historically accurate playable tanks, aircraft, helicopters and ships, from the 1930s up to some of the most modern vehicles. Not to mention the spectacular graphics with amazing effects. Use my link to register and receive a bonus, premium tank, aircraft or ship and a 3-day account boost. The game is completely free, so you can start playing immediately. Two companies have been chosen to submit their proposals: British BAE Systems and German Rheinmetall. Also, UK decided to reduce the number of Challenger 2s from 227 to 148 for the LEP program, where the rest would be kept for spare parts. In my opinion, that is a good idea, since reducing the number of tanks means they can focus enough funds to properly upgrade the remaining tanks. First, we are going to take a look at the BAE proposal, also called Black Knight. This modification doesn't really change much on the base Challenger 2, but it adds a lot of important upgrades. The most notable one is probably the Iron Fist hardkill active protection system, which isn't really the best hardkill system out there, but it is certainly much better than just not having any. Black Knight also has laser warning receivers, which warn the crew when the tank is being lased by a laser rangefinder. This is a very good thing to have, and this is one of the few NATO tanks, or rather upgrades, that actually has such feature. The tank received Safran Paseo Commander's Independent Thermal Viewer, which features 3rd generation thermal imagers, Leonardo Hawk 3rd generation thermal sight for the gunner, and DNVS-4 night sight for the driver. 3rd generation thermals are a massive improvement for the tank, that previously featured TOGS 2 with improved 1st generation thermal for the gunner and no thermal sight for the commander. But now the downsides. Using largely unmodified Challenger 2 bases, this leaves Black Knight with same 120mm rifled gun, which is ultimately worse than 120mm smoothbore guns used by other NATO tanks. Before you start typing how Challenger has the longest kill with a rifled gun and other similar stuff, let me explain why it is actually worse. Main drawback of rifled guns compared to smoothbore ones is their lifespan. Rifled guns have barrel rifling which can wear out, while smoothbore guns are, well, smooth. This is even more problematic because APFSDs fired from rifled guns use driving bands that put pressure on specific points, in order for the sabot to be able to ride rifle gun without spinning. Now, the barrel lifespan is measured with effective full charge ammunition. This is mainly heat or HESH in Challenger's case. Now, L30A1 rifled gun used on Challenger 2, has an effective full charge barrel life of 400 rounds. Not bad, right? Well, 120mm M256 smoothbore gun, the one used on M1A1 and M1A2 Abrams, which is a modified German L44 gun, has an effective full charge barrel life of 1500 rounds, almost 4 times as much as L30A1. Now, you know how I said that effective full charge are usually heat and hash. This is because APFSDS is basically overcharged ammunition, and they wear out the guns much faster than other rounds. Another thing to note is that rifled guns are not more accurate than smoothbore ones. They are literally using same type of ammunition, and rifled guns rifling is useless for APFSDS accuracy, since as I mentioned before, it uses driving bands to prevent spinning, so once out of the gun, the projectile behaves like it's been fired from a smoothbore. Now with that out of the way, yeah, rifled gun still being present on the tank is bad. Another issue is that the mobility of the vehicle hasn't changed. It still retains the same engine, which makes it slower than most of the other NATO tanks. Now let's take a look at Rheinmetall's proposal. One thing before we do, I want to mention that since LEP has been announced, BAE has actually joined up with Rheinmetall for their tank development, so no matter which one is chosen, BAE wins. Rheinmetall's proposal has pretty different focuses than Black Knight. The tank has no hard kill active protection system, nor does it have laser warning receivers, which is a big downside when compared to Black Knight. It also has 3rd generation thermals for both gunner and commander, mainly Orion from Thales. But the most important difference here is the installation of the new 120mm L55A1 smoothbore gun. This is a gun that's been installed on the new German Leopard 2A7 tanks and can sustain higher pressure than previous L55 gun, which gave it ability to fire new APFSDS projectiles, mainly newly developed DM73. Now, it's not known whether Germany would sell DM73 to UK, but even so their DM63 is more prominent than British ammunition. And L55A1, being a smoothbore gun, means it will have a much longer lifespan than 120mm rifled gun. The L55A1 also gives Challenger 2 ability to fire German programmable high explosive projectile, which drastically improves its firepower. Challenger 2 currently uses shorter APFSDS than its NATO colleagues because the tank's storage doesn't permit longer projectiles. On top of that, it uses 2-piece ammunition with no blast door protection. And it still uses hash. Come on. Rheinmetall's proposal also features a new turret which does have blast door protection with blowout panels, but it is unknown if any changes to the armor have been done in the new turret. Now the big downside is still the engine. Rheinmetall's proposal also retains the old Challenger 2 engine, which would still make it slower, but that is not that important. Neither of the two upgrades actually improve on the lacking hull protection of Challenger 2, which has big weak spot with the driver's vision port and big lower frontal plate that is a simple 60mm steel plate. But the upgrades are not final, and we might actually see it receive some improvements there. I think the Challenger with 130mm should be mentioned. Rheinmetall used the Challenger 2 as a demonstration vehicle for their 130mm gun, which they plan on installing on MGCS and probably even on their Leopard 2s. But sadly, it's just that, a demonstration. As of yet, UK has shown no interest in such vehicle, probably because it would be too expensive to upgrade 150 tanks to that level. Don't forget to check out War Thunder, where you can take control of many land, air or naval vehicles. Use the link from the description to get a premium vehicle and a 3-day account boost and start playing for free. Both proposals are good in their own way. BAE's Black Knight focuses more on the protection with Iron Fist hard kill system and laser warning receivers, while Rheinmetall's proposal focuses more on the firepower with the new L55A1 main gun, while having no active protection system. You might say why not just combine the two, but it's not that simple. UK has already reduced the number of tanks in order to be able to afford upgrades. Mounting Iron Fist and laser warning receivers on the Rheinmetall's vehicle would probably make it too expensive. But as I already said, none of this is final, we might actually see some changes. That would be all. If you like my content, you can consider supporting me on Patreon, and if you can't, leave a like on the video or subscribe if you are new. That also helps a lot. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a nice day.